What's up, guys? Welcome back to Matthews Ballistics. I'm on my way over to go to the range. We're bringing the Ruger American 6.5 out again with the EC tuner brake on it. This time I'm going to use better ammunition. Instead of using the Aguila ammo that was just really inconsistently made, I'm going to use some Hornady 120 grain ELD match ammo, all factory loaded. So they're not hand loaded. This is just ammo, store-bought ammo. Today the weather has been a little hit and miss with some spotty showers, and it's been kind of overcast, and then the sun has come out a couple times. So the humidity's pretty high, but we're not shooting real far. We're only shooting between 100 and 300 yards, and the wind hasn't been that bad either. I think the highest wind we've seen today would be about 5 or 6 miles an hour, so nothing terrible. Especially for what we're doing, I don't think we're really going to have to worry about it too much. So, yeah, bringing its tuner brake back out because the results last time were not very good. They weren't real conclusive, I believe the results were pretty poor because of the ammunition I was using, the 140 grain Aguila FMJs. The loading on those was just all over the place. I mean, we had from box to box, there could be a 200 foot per second difference in velocity. We'd get one box that shoots about 2,500 and then one box that shot 2,700 out of the same rifle. It's just crazy. So it didn't really give us any good data for this project. So we're redoing the project, redoing the test, and I'm using, like I said, 120 grain Hornady ELD match ammo. The 140s that I have tested were really good, really consistent. Extreme spread and velocity was only 20 feet per second at the most, so really well made ammo, and I have high hopes for the 120 grain rounds that I'm going to use today as well. So again, it's a Ruger American Predator with a 22-inch barrel, an Eric Cortina Precision, the EC tuner brake on it. We got a Harris bench rest bipod, the 1A, or what's it called, the 1A2BR bipod, whatever. And then I've also got a cheap scope on it, but actually the glass is really clear, and even zoomed, at the highest magnification, it still remains very clear for what it is. I got a really good deal on it. It's like a $150 scope or whatever, and I think I paid $50 for it. It's a Simmons 8.6 to 18 power with a 50 millimeter objective lens. So actually a really decent scope for the money, like as far as cheap scopes go. I don't think I've bought a scope in the $100 to $200 range before that was actually this good. I would compare it to several $300 and $400 scopes, but that's beside the point. We're going to do this test today, and hopefully we get some really good results out of it. Hopefully we can get a conclusive result showing that this tuner brake really makes a difference, and that's what we're going to do. Hopefully we don't get too rained out today, and we actually get to do this test, and the weather stays pretty mild. So yeah, we are on our way to the range. Stay tuned. Be the first two groups with the 120 grain just re-zeroing. They do shoot just a little higher than the 140s we were shooting. This is the first group of 4 rounds, and this is the second group of 4 rounds. So I haven't done anything with the tuner brake, and it's already, shooting one hole. So I don't know, maybe do I really need to mess with the tuner brake? Who knows? anyways, I'm going to move my point of impact over and see if I can tear out the center of that red circle. And then I'll start messing with the tuner settings on the other little zeros there. Alright, so far we have not adjusted the tuner at all. It's set at 0. Our first group was this one. Then the second group was this real tight one here. That's 4 shots. And then the third group was kind of bigger, kind of all over the place, with 2 shots being there and then 1 here and 1 here. And then I moved to a new target here and shot another group, and it seems like when the barrel gets a little bit hotter after a couple of rounds, it tightens up a little bit. So I'm going to move to this one. I'm going to move the tuner to setting 1. I'm going to shoot 4 there and see what it does, and then if it's super tight, then I'll redo test 1 here. Otherwise we'll move to setting 2 and 3 and etc., and then move on to a whole new target. Alright, so after sending a whole bunch of ammunition downrange and recording all the velocities and then the target results using this tuner brake, I'm fully confident that the tuner brake really works. And before we get into the details of the targets, I'm going to go over some numbers, the fun part. So if you want to, there's most of the numbers. I know they're backwards on the camera, I'm sorry. Anyways, group to group, I did this in 4-shot groups. It looks like the first 4 groups I did were just getting the gun zeroed using the 120 grain ELD match ammo, because I did not want to have any, craziness with the other ammo I was using that was not very good, the Gila. So using nothing but Hornady match, 120 grain, the ELD match ammo. We got the first 4 groups were just getting it sighted in, getting it close to the, hitting where I wanted it. And then after that I started messing with the tuner. But first 4 groups, we got an average on the velocity of 2781 for the first group, 2794 for the second group, 2785 for the third group, 2791 for the fourth group. So this ammunition's really consistent. The only 2 in this whole deal that threw the whole thing off was I had 1 round come out at 2758, and then the next round come out at 2761, which is a huge spread in velocity, especially for shooting long range. Now, did that really affect how the bullets impacted the target at 100 yards? Not necessarily. They pretty much impacted in the same, group pretty well. Even with 100 feet per second difference, at 100 yards it doesn't matter all that much. It doesn't mean all that much. But, if we were shooting 1,000 yards, yeah, that would mean a lot. So that's just something to think about. Other groups, the averages on them were 2788, 2810, 2804, 2813. That's the one with the one really high one in it. And then 2798, 2804, 2783. And then we got 2796, a 2794, and a 2792. The average out of all these rounds, 56 rounds I fired and recorded, the average is 2,795 feet per second. That's out of my 22-inch Ruger American, and on the box it says 2,910. So I'm pretty sure that Hornady tested those out of a 26-inch barrel, which is the standard barrel you would use for 6.5. That's generally what people use to get the most accuracy out of it. The highest velocity was 28.58, like I said, and the lowest was 27.61. So your extreme spread on the Hornady ammo, just because of those two rounds being so far apart right out of the box, is around. It's close to 100 feet per second. It's about 97 feet per second, 99 feet per second difference. I really think that if that one round hadn't come out so hot, the 28.58, and and say we had the lowest one was 27.61, then our highest one would have been, I think, 28 or so, and then our extreme spread would have been a lot closer. It would have been about 70 feet per second, which is still a little bit high, but we're talking, this is 3 different boxes of ammunition, so you're probably going to have that. So anyways, enough talk with all the numbers there. I was really happy with the ammunition and the way it performed. Now we're going to look at this target. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. This would be target number 1. And the center part is just me trying to get close to the 0 there with this ammunition. The tuner's set at 0. So I moved the tuner to setting 1. I didn't go all the way to setting 2 first. Actually, the first one I shot here at 0. This is tuner setting 0 after I got my 0. And then I moved it to tuner setting 1. So you can see it already manipulated the grouping on there. It went from this up and down spread to more of a sideways spread. Now for shooting long range, I'd rather have the up and down spread. If I'm shooting, a little bit high, it's fine. If I'm shooting and having to mess with the windage and shooting wide, I don't really care for that. And then I went to setting 2, and it did pretty good. We got 1 hole there and then 3 right there. That's a pretty tight group. That's not bad. And then setting 4, the same thing. Got 1 flyer and really tight. And that's one thing I noticed about this rifle is my cold shot seems to be the one that's out of the group. The 1 flyer is that first cold shot. So maybe that's just the gun. Maybe it seems to like to shoot hot. So every gun's different. You really don't know what you're gonna get. So we move on to the next target, and I move it to setting number 6 right here. And it's not bad. That's not a bad group, I don't think. It could be better. And then I move to setting number 8. And you can see like the way that the group changes from one setting to the next. This is setting number 8 here. And these 3 rounds did really well, and then I had that one up high. And then, so I stuck with setting 8. No, actually, I'll take that back. I had swabbed the barrel, and this was my swab group right there at about 30 rounds. So I swabbed the barrel and shot group number 6 again. This was the same as this setting. This was both group 6, or setting 6 on the tuner. And then I went to setting number 8 down here, and I actually like this group better because I didn't have one that was like way out. So that was pretty nice. And then I moved to setting number 10, and wow, that is a huge difference right there. You can see that is a huge difference. 2 rounds and 2 rounds at setting 10. And then I moved to setting 12, and I shot 2 groups of 4 here, and they were all just they weren't really consistent. So that's 8 shots at setting 12. Didn't like it. Moved back to setting 10, and the same thing. So this group at setting 10 and this group at setting number 10. So setting number 10 is the way to go for my rifle. And I really believe that made a huge difference. Of course, the only thing that I could have done to have taken a little bit of more human error out of the equation was to shoot it from a sled, which I wasn't. I was shooting it off the bipod. And I wanted to do that because I'm not going to be carrying a sled with me every time I go shoot a gun. So I wanted to get comfortable and get used to shooting it from the bipod and learning what I need to do to make my part better when firing the gun. But as the results are, that tuner brake really made a difference. And one of the cool things too is we noticed when we started getting the tuner close to where it needed to be, the way the rounds tore the paper was a lot different. And you can see from like this group and that group, and the way that the rounds are tearing through the paper there. And then this group down here, the way the rounds tearing through the paper. And then we finally got it to the right setting. And look how clean the holes are. You see that? That's just strange. I was thinking, you know, because the whole other target looked like this too, you know, where the paper was tearing out and the holes aren't super clean. And then all of a sudden we got that tuner set pretty much the way we think it needs to be, and the holes are super clean and small and uniform. So that, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. So if you got a comment as to why you think that is, please feel free to drop that comment below. I would appreciate the feedback and some conversation about it. So I think that's about it. I think I finally figured this tuner brake out, and I really like it, really enjoyed it. It works well at managing recoil. The Ruger American rifles are pretty lightweight, and so even with a 6.5 in there, which is a fairly low recoil round, it's still, after, you know, usually without the brake on it, after about 30 or 40 rounds, it's like, I'm getting kind of tired of this. So with that brake on there, I could shoot that gun literally all day long and not get tired of it. And plus the way that they design the tuner brake to actually shield you from a lot of the muzzle blast. I know, because shooting brakes on rifles, especially really aggressive ones like the one that's on my 50 cal, as soon as you pull the trigger, it's nothing but a wave of hot air blasting you in the face, like almost ripping your earmuffs off and whatnot. But they did a really good job of shielding you as a shooter from all that with the way that they designed the brake. So I really think they did a really, really good job on it, and I don't think I've shot a gun with a brake that's that comfortable to shoot, because a lot of the times you do get a little bit of burst of pressure in your face, and with this brake you don't get that at all. And it does a really good job managing the recoil, does a really, really good job of, you know, being able to tune the harmonics out of the barrel to get it to hold the tightest groups. So the next time I, you know, run this thing at the range, I'm probably going to be using some hand loads. I've got a bunch of 140 grain ELD match bullets coming in that I'm going to be hand loading. And because I actually know that my rifle shoots the 140s maybe slightly better than the 120s, but I mean, out to 300 or 400 yards, I would have no issue taking the 120s. They're doing great. So yeah, we'll do some hand loading next time. The next video, we're going back to the 454 Casul project, doing the long range bullets, and I've got something coming up for that I think you guys are gonna like. Got some custom stuff in the works. I'll just put it that way, and I think you guys are probably gonna like it. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time in the next video.